Hello, and welcome to another Game Nexus Dead or Alive video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dead or Alive 4 for the Xbox 360. Now, this game was released in the Xbox 360's launch window, which in Japan and North America, it was released on December 29th of 2005, and in Europe, it was released on January 27th of 2006. As you can see on the front cover, there's some of the new characters, like right here is La Mariposa, who is known as Lisa from Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. There's Elliot, he's like Genfu's protege, and then here's Kokoro. They're the new characters of this game. And then on the back here, it has various screenshots and stuff. And on the inside, you have your disc art, which is very similar to the front, showing various characters from the game, and then the instruction manual, which is exactly the same. Now, I also, if you had seen the other video I'd posted for my collection video, I have this Dead or Alive 4 Japanese version, which had the different art here, which a lot of people tell me this art's from the collector's editions of the game that came out when it first came out. And this was actually bundled with a console, which included this and possibly a faceplate. Everyone's still a little bit fuzzy on the details on that one, but yeah, that's Dead or Alive 4. So what we're going to do here is grab our North American version, open it up, get the disc, and just put it right in the console. So that'll turn on the 360 just like my other videos. And we're just going to put the disc right in the system, close the disc tray. And now I'm just going to pan up right up to the screen here so you can see what's going on. That's just the Xbox 360 dashboard, if you will. And it's going to just read the disc real quick. You'll hear it stressing a little bit. I don't know if you can really hear that. And this is Dead or Alive 4. And if you give it enough time, sometimes it'll display a fancy little image here of the game, but not always. And we just hit the button here, and it'll go right into the game, and let me show you how this is. Okay, and unlike running the Xbox games on the Xbox 360, you get no kind of logo, it just goes right into the game here. And as you can see here, this is the warning screen, but the good part in this game is, unlike the other games, you just press start, it skips right by it. But this Team Ninja logo is unskippable. Press any button you want and you'll never get by it. It'll just keep on playing. I guess I just want you to know it was made by Team Ninja. And then that'll take us to the title screen here. Now, I would normally show you the intro here, but I have the intro uploaded in a couple of videos that will be linked in the bottom. And now, characters for this game, you get Kasumi, Ryu Hayabusa. And here's a couple of costumes for Kasumi I'm going to show you here. This one was one of my favorites, the black costume. I always thought that was really cool. Then there's Hitomi, Kokoro, who's one of the newcomers, Brad Wong, Elliot, another one of the newcomers, Zach. Then we got Bass, Helena, who's one of the main characters in this game, Jan Lee, Li Fang, La Mariposa, who was Lisa in Dead or Alive Extreme, Tina, Bayman, Christy, Hayate, and of course Ayane. Now, Leon, Genfu, Tengu from Dead or Alive 2, and Spartan from the Halo series are all bonus characters who don't have a story mode in this game. Of course, they're still really cool characters, they just don't have a story mode, kind of like how, oh yeah, and Ein. I was going to say kind of like how Ein doesn't have a story mode in Dead or Alive 3, because he's just like a added bonus character that you can play. And if you notice on the marquee there, it's playing my my motto, which is Karate Explosion from the old Net Zero video. And that's one thing I definitely have to say about Dead or Alive 4 is the actual backgrounds are pretty good looking. They look pretty amazing. There's a lot of like moving parts and a lot of
just nice texture detail and stuff that really does show off the Xbox 360's power, even though a lot of people debated that the models in this game weren't all that better than, let's say, Dead or Alive 3 or even Dead or Alive Ultimate. But if you look at like subtle things and small little pieces here and there, especially if you're running this game in high definition, you'll notice just little details that you would have noticed in like, let's say, Dead or Alive 3 or Dead or Alive Ultimate. So in that respect, I think there is a lot of upgraded imagery here. I know the most complained about feature of any Dead or Alive fan is the almost paper-like hair that the female characters have. If you look really close when like the hair bounces or just kind of like goes off their shoulders, it kind of looks like long strips of paper instead of being actual hair. And you can kind of see what they were going for here. They're kind of going for like a more organic hair animation. But in the end, it turned it out as looking like long strips of paper. But yeah, I don't think it's that bad of a detracting thing. It doesn't bother me too much, really. I just love that stuff like that. Like Kazumi just got like thrown right into that thing of fruit and it just all busted apart. Here's one of the many in-game cutscenes. And now it actually cut out a bit there because I actually had lost, so I just figured why make this video longer to just to show me get my ass kicked by Brad Wong here. And I just thought that was kind of a funny cutscene. He basically wants her to drink with him under the cherry blossoms, but of course Kokoro's not having any part of it. And that's another thing I noticed a lot with this game is if you look at any of the female's character skirts, they move their leg ever so slightly, and you get your instant panty shots. And there was another quick cut where I actually had lost. But that one thing that Genfu actually says, me and my friend always hear him say it, and we always think that it sounds like he's telling you to suck his dick. It always sounds like he's like, suck my dick. But yeah, I always thought that was just a weird sounding thing. It's almost as bad as that one that Zack says when he spreads his arm apart. It sounds like he says like Super Saiyan, like he's like from Dragon Ball Z or something. And if you notice, going around the arena here is the same marquee as on the that road stage with my karate explosion on it. And of course here is Christy, who is a new character in the previous game, Dead or Alive 3. And if anyone's wondering, if you didn't see my Dead or Alive 4 system voice video, the system voice you're going to be hearing all through this video is Alpha 152, which in order to unlock the system voice, you need to basically do all the sparring modes of every character in the game, which of course includes the ever so hard Raijin throw by Hayate, which took me honestly forever to do. And here's another cutscene.
おことの先生も言うてはりましたえ。心はやる気あるんやろか、ないんやろか。どないどす？私、向かないと思う。憲法だったら向いてるかな。あんたの本堂と違いますえ。デッド・オア・ライブ大会って知ってる？出よう言うんやないやろね。ダメ？どないなっても知りまへんやん。血は争えんいうことやろうか。
And now that cutscene I thought was a little bit strange because you never actually see Kokoro's mother's face. So it's kind of like she doesn't want her to see her face or something, or maybe she's just like so ashamed that Kokoro doesn't want to continue with her music. She wants to go more with martial arts, that she like just looks away from her. And that's another thing I noticed in this game. it looks like they made Bass just a bit bigger, because he just looks humongous compared to just about everybody in this game. Unless maybe that's what they wanted to do in the first place with his character, but they just thought it looked a little bit ridiculous. But at this point in the game, it didn't really matter. And now as far as the actual gameplay in this game, they've greatly increased the speed. If you noticed, I'm doing a lot less counters in this gameplay as I would do in other games, because the window to actually do counters has been shortened very greatly. And now I always thought this was weird. Why must Kokoro learn Helena's techniques? That never made any sense to me. Maybe to fight someone? I don't know. But what I was saying is, everything has just been greatly sped up, and the window to do the counters is a lot shorter, which in a way could be a good thing, because people who are just really cheap can't do as many counters. It received, of course, good and bad criticism. Here's Kokoro's ending. And of course that was the CG ending for Kokoro. And that, if you see here, you can see the extra characters in the selection screen, because this is the time attack mode. As you can see, here's Helena, then next to her is Ein, and then as I mentioned earlier, Genfu, Leon, Tengu, and then that Spartan character. The Spartan was alright, but she just seemed to play like very clunky. Like, it's kind of like when you first play as Bass for the first time. If you're not used to how his moves work, he can seem a little slow. But honestly, I couldn't ever see myself getting all that great with Spartan. And I've selected the tag mode here, which I'm Christy and Helena. And what I was saying before the Kokoro's ending movie there is that in general, there's some players that really like the new playstyle of this game, that it moves a lot faster and the counter time is taken down. Also, the amount of damage the counters does has been taken down a little bit too, because there's just a lot of counters in some of the earlier games, especially DOA 2, where you punch your opponent, they grab your fist, and they slam you on the ground and take up like 3/4 of your health. So they kind of downplayed a little bit of that as well. There are a lot of hardcore players in the Dead or Alive scene, if you will, who like swear by Dead or Alive 3.1, which is the Japanese version of that game, and they'll never truly like this game. But I look at it this way, this game did have its place in history, is that it was, as Itagaki said, the perfect fighting game. And at the time of making this game, Itagaki had no other plans to make another Dead or Alive fighting game, because he said this was just the perfect fighting game and the best game ever made. In his own words, he really did praise himself for making Dead or Alive 4. And speaking of making Dead or Alive 4, just as I had mentioned at the top, this game wasn't released with the Xbox 360, and I kind of think that was a great idea, because instead of rushing it out like DOA 3 and leaving a lot of stuff unfinished, with this game they were able to finish a lot of the things and not have the game be half done and release several revisions that all contained all different things. So it really was smart this time around that they actually finished the game and they didn't rush it out for the console launch, which is something that I think all developers should take as an example. When you're making your game, don't rush it out for the console launch if it's not ready. Just release the launch window if you have to. It's not like the system's gonna die without you. Hopefully. And this stage you saw me fighting in here, this is another one of those more danger zone type levels. Kind of like the Ray House in Dead or Alive Ultimate, or even the Cyclotron to a lesser extent. And here's that same stage I actually had fought Helena at on the heliport, which she told me that I had to learn her moves. And what you hear playing in the background is actually Zach's theme. It's that same kind of zany music you're used to, like in Dead or Alive 1, Dead or Alive 2, or even Dead or Alive 3. They all had a really zany sound to them. And that move that Tina reminds me of a move that Bass does, where he does a very similar thing. And then here's Zach once again. That's one thing I like in this game. You'll notice a lot of this, where the character moves have more or less been tweaked. Like for instance, how Helena does the fist thing, when she goes up and down with the fist. She kind of does a spin while she does it now, which makes it cover more area, as opposed to the old version, which was just a little bit more vertical and just did a lot less of an area. And now we're back in the wrestling arena. And one thing you're going to notice with Hayabusa, and actually a lot of games, is he loves doing Yuzuna drops. He'll do them as much as he possibly can on you until your character dies. So you got to be careful. You don't either stop attacking or hit him in a specific way, or he's going to Yuzuna you no matter what. And you'll see some. You might see some new moves from Ayane too. I like how they tweaked her moveset. I think it really flows nicely, especially if you're playing survival mode. There's a lot of moves that you can just like you can just chain together, so your opponent can't, by any chance, attack you instead. And this arena definitely is a bit of an upgrade from the Octagon in Dead or Alive 3. It's got a lot more animations, and you'll see all the fans dancing in the background. They're probably all just the same character repeated over and over again, but it's just a nice effect. And of course, that was my time attack mode. I didn't do nearly as nice as I've done before. And since I didn't get to show you this in Kokoro story mode, I'm going to show you Alpha 152 in Ayane story mode. And of course, if you didn't know, Ayana has a lot of affection for her Master Hayate, as well as Master Ryu. But you're gonna see me get beaten at least once or twice here before I actually beat her, which I'm surprised it didn't take me that many tries. And if you've ever played any of the SNK fighting games like King of Fighters or any of those games, SNK was notorious for making the hardest boss characters ever. And I definitely have to say Alpha 152 definitely fits into that mold. You'll see her do a lot of crazy moves, which are just either A, hard to get away from, or B, are just very damaging. And they're just those moves that she can get you with no matter what. And just in case you're wondering, whenever I look at Alpha 152, I always think she just looks like a bunch of jello. And it's like jello, just like with like steam coming out of it. But yeah, she's got to be one of the hardest boss characters this side of SNK, if you will. So she's not really for the faintest of heart. And on that note, I definitely have to say, Dead or Alive 4, while it's quite an upgrade from the other ones in graphics and gameplay, it might not be for everyone, because some of the difficulty is amped up in some of the categories. But if you're a Dead or Alive fan, or if you like fighting games in general, then Dead or Alive 4 definitely deserves a try from you. And of course, at this point, and if you're watching this a long time after Dead or Alive 4 has been out, like even longer than this year, this game is actually pretty cheap at this point. I believe it's under $20. So if you have an Xbox 360, I think everyone should have it. And last thing I'm going to show you is Zack's ending, which you should, by seeing this ending, you should know what this is leading up to. And I'll just leave you with that. I'll see you later.